now, this one must be very profound. The Ethics of Aristotle. Now, anybody that read that must believe he's a cut above anybody that hadn't. See, it's no good, Montag. We've all got to be alike. The only way to be happy is for everyone to be made equal. So, we must burn the books, Montag.
We want to be free. We want to be free to do what we want to do. We want to be free to ride. We want to be free to ride our machines without being hassled by the man. And we want to get loaded.
Believe me, if I started murdering people, there'd be none of it left. Because my children are coming. I told you 20 years ago.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
In my way of thinking, without judgment, you might as well be dead. Your brain is, so why not the rest of you? We were talking about marijuana. We still are. Marijuana is the flame, heroin is the fuse, LSD is the bomb. So don't you try to equate liquor with marijuana, mister, not with me.
Pop your culture.
It's midnight on Saturday night, so you know what time it is. If you've tuned in, this is Pop Your Culture right here on Cheer FM and on Radio Gordo. I'm your host, Randall LeBron, guiding us through an eclectic 2-hour mix curated by none other than myself, and my pop culture sensibilities is filtered through, well, music that was on my mind in the past week, or sometimes even a little bit longer, but it's usually an interesting journey. And it's one of the things with this show is it's pretty much no borders. Last week we had the Frank Zappa special, and we got a tad cheeky on that one. I haven't heard necessarily anything too crazy about it, in that anybody was necessarily freaked out by the type of content. I was actually talking to a friend of mine just earlier this afternoon as I record this, and he was telling me that the song Bobby Brown Goes Down was actually used, it became a hit, I think he was saying, in the Netherlands, because nobody knew what they were actually saying in the song. It just sounded like a good kind of slow dance sort of song, whereas in North America, you didn't really see airplay about that. And then I said to my friend, but I've put it on the radio. So I want to thank all of you out there for having those brave and courageous ears who are unafraid of listening to things that maybe might pull you out of your comfort zone a little bit every once in a while. Because what's the fun in listening to something that's maybe always going to be safe and a touch on the bland side? It's cool to listen to chill out music every once in a while. Maybe something that's just floats there in the background and just colors the room a little bit without announcing itself too much. That's fine. But do you want to listen to bland stuff? Musical gruel? No, I don't think so. I know that I don't want to. And tonight, this show, I don't think we're going to. We're definitely going to stretch out into a few different areas. Got some different feels, some multi-song sets by a single artist. Got a couple of requests that I'm throwing into the mix. Celebrating an anniversary of an album that turned 30 on December 14th, so that's pretty cool. Going to be pulling a couple of songs out there. We're going to be doing a couple of versions of one song, and at one point in this show, we're going to do that in a couple of different parts. But to get it all going tonight, I thought it's been a while since I've listened to DJ Shadow and the artist Tricky. Both of these names are notable in the trip-hop world. Both of these names are still some of my go-to names when I feel like listening to trip-hop. So before we get into DJ Shadow, let's run one from Tricky from the collection A Rough Guide. This is Aftermath, version 1.
You'll see as no others can. Here inherit my kingdom. Speak of a people's plan. I'll be here for my baby.
For my baby,
I'll be near.
So many things
So
I
many
need to
things
tell
I
you.
need to tell you.
The things you need to hear.
It was dead on the one. Clock said more. It was said they dropped the ball. Not what type of door. Feeling lonely, isolated, thinking of what was once. So I go in search of people. A sign of inhabitants. Airs fit with chemicals. So this is the aftermath. Walking over a road, which was once Costas Calf. Down to the centre, which used to be central.
So this is the aftermath. For one, for someone, for him, for she. For one, for someone, for your eyes resemble mine. You'll see as no others can. Here inherit my kingdom. Speak of a people's plan. I'll be here for my baby.
For my
For my
baby, I'll be
baby,
near.
I'll be near.
So many
So
things I
many
need to
things
tell
I
you.
need to tell you.
The things you need to hear.
For one, for someone, for him, for she. For one, for someone, for It was a day like no other. Clock said mom. It was said they dropped the bomb. Night worked at the door. Feeling lonely, isolated, thinking of what was once. So I go looking for people. 2 miles just for Greenville. This is me, Lisa Susan Pinsker. I love you, Mommy.
From 2002's The Private Press, that was DJ Shadow, Giving Up the Ghost. There was a few other songs in that album that I wanted to check out, but that one managed to make it to the top of the listening pile, and so there we go. Before that, kicking open the show, we had Tricky, Aftermath, version 1, a cut that kicked off their A Rough Guide album. And I gotta say, that's a pretty wicked sampler of Tricky's material. Now, I didn't really get that album until I think it was 2002, so wow. a hair over 20 years ago, because it was sort of midpoint of 2002, maybe even early 2002, that I started listening to that album. And I will lay it at the feet of Tool for why I actually started listening to Tricky. On their 2001 Lateralis tour, when they stopped in Vancouver, they actually had Tricky as the opening act. I wasn't familiar with Tricky's stuff. I wasn't really into the whole trip-hop thing in much of a notable way at that time, and I thought it was a really odd pairing. It felt like a bit of a lost opportunity to hear something that rocked a little bit more. I gotta say, at that concert, hearing his material, I became interested in his music, checked it out further from there, and I have to say that the majority of Tool's audience at that particular show was deplorable. The way that they behaved when Tricky was playing, the amount of boos and catcalls that I heard was remarkably disappointing for such a crowd that lauds itself and pats itself on the back for being so open-minded and everything like that. It was kind of lame, gotta say. But myself, my ears were open up that day, and I was really thankful for it. It was pretty cool stuff. Next up on the show, as we sort of pull back the little storytelling, got Wilco from the 2004 album A Ghost Is Born. This is the one that kicked open that album. This is At Least That's What You Said.
When I sat down on the bed next to you, you started to cry. I said, maybe if I leave, you'll want me to come back home. Maybe all you mean is leave me alone. At least that's what you said. You're irresistible when you get mad. Isn't it sad? I'm immune. I thought it was cute for you to kiss my purple black eye, and even though I caught it from you, I still think we're serious. At least that's what you said.
I turned it to shade, happy and free. All that I do is wait for you. All that I do is wait for you. I can't get along with all your friends. Don't know how to act. It's all there is. Why do I accept the things you say? You know what to change, but not in what way. How long must I wait? 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 It's about time, I'm such a success that you came through with no expense. All that I do is wait for you. All that I do is wait for you. I can't get away from all your friends. I'm not coming back. That's all there is. Why do I accept the things you say? Don't know what to change, but not in what way. How long must I wait? 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 How long must I wait?
Following up Wilco with a slice of New York cool, that was The Strokes, Vision of Division, a great blasting song for them. Love the guitar work in that band. Their first album, Is This It? It was an album that was just pretty unremarkable for me, but by the time they got to their third album, First Impressions of Earth, I was definitely a fan of them. They started to win me over with their second LP, Room on Fire. At first, I didn't like the competition between that the Music Press, and I will throw it on them, that the Music Press created is them sort of being co-headliners / co-competitors of leading the garage rock revival against the White Stripes. The White Stripes appealed to my working class roots a little bit more than the art school sort of sensibilities of the Strokes did, but over time I definitely was won over to the Strokes, and I do still like White Stripes more, so there's that. Yes, Wilco was at the start of that one. At least that's what you said. Next up on the show, we're going to get into a triple shot, though, of the Smashing Pumpkins, mainly because this band's been on my mind a little bit more, what with them releasing new material, being out on tour, and it has me revisiting some of their earlier stuff. I mean, even my daughter is starting to learn some of these songs on guitar, which I think is pretty cool as a dad who has a kid that's starting to learn an instrument and learn stuff from bands that I've grown up listening to. I think it's pretty cool. But this isn't necessarily material that's going to filter into her young ears that easily, because this is 3 songs from the Machina 2 album. Now, this album was released in a super limited quantities. I mean, I've read varying stories over the years, but one of the ones is that there was 15 vinyl copies pressed, and those were bootlegged and ripped and sent out into the internet, and that's how pretty much anybody who has these songs was able to get them. I have the album, I have the songs. It's one of the bootlegs. This is 3 of them right now. We have Saturnine standing by, but here's Dross.
You say I'm beautiful.
was 3 songs from Smashing Pumpkins' Machina 2 LP, which was released in hyper-limited quantities and widely bootlegged. That's how we heard those ones. We had Cash Car Star, Saturnine, and at the start, Dross. I'm Randall Liberon. This is Pop Culture on Cheer FM and Radio Gordo. I feel like switching gears right now, so let's do it and do it quickly. We have Pet Shop Boys standing by before we get into that one. One of my favorite early examples of Duran Duran. This is Girls on Film.
Lights flashing out so bright.
from the Pet Shop Boys. That was the track It's a Sin, and that's the one we're going to hear a cover of in a little while. A little while being a bit while, I suppose. Before Duran Duran, we had Girls on Film, and you know what? I wanted to keep this 80s vibe going. I almost considered smudging all these together, so let's just get into it. Coming up at us next is a track that, it has a story behind it. That New Order all used LSD in the studio, started off this song, got it recorded, put down all the bits, and then was too incapacitated to continue. So at that point they stopped, went to the pub next door, left the guys in the studio to mix it, and we have this. This is Blue Monday.
becoming less defined as days go by, fading away. Well, you might say I'm losing focus, kind of drifting into the abstract in terms of how I see myself. Sometimes I think I can see right through myself. Sometimes I think I can see right through myself. Sometimes I can see right through myself. Less concerned about fitting into the world, your world that is, 'cause it doesn't really matter anymore. It doesn't really matter anymore. None of this really matters anymore. Yes, I'm alone, but then again I always was. As far back as I can tell, I think maybe it's because you were never really real to begin with. I just made you up to hurt myself. I just made you up to hurt myself. And I just made you up to hurt myself. I just made you up to hurt myself. And I just made you up to hurt myself. And it worked. Yes, it did. There is no you, there is only me. There is no you, there is only me. There is no fucking you, there is only me. There is no fucking you, there is only me. Well, the tiniest little dot caught my eye and it turned out to be a scab. And I had this funny feeling like I just knew it's something bad. I just couldn't leave alone, picking at that scab. There's a doorway trying to see itself shut, but I climbed through. Now I'm somewhere I'm not supposed to be, and I can see things I know I really shouldn't say. And now I know why, now I know why things aren't as pretty on the inside. There is no you, there is only me. There is no you, there is only me. There is no fucking you, there is only me. There is no fucking you, there is only me.
Jumping from the early 80s to the mid-aughties, that was Nine Inch Nails from 2005's With Teeth album, the track Only. They followed up New Order with Blue Monday. I saw Nine Inch Nails on that tour. It was supported by Autolux and Queens of the Stone Age. It was pretty cool to see Queens of the Stone Age in the supporting slot on that one because they seemed pretty damn wasted, and they gave us a sloppy, loud, fun, visceral show. And then it was really cool because it was great support without being competition to the multimedia experience that Nine Inch Nails had laid down. It was my one and only time actually seeing Nine Inch Nails, and I think that was a pretty cool tour to catch them on. And if those songs were a little bit electronica influenced, these next songs we're gonna dial that back because we're gonna get into some new metal sounds. My daughter's getting into new metal, and I find it kind of quaint. in a lot of ways. A lot of these were bands that I spent time with listening to in my late teens and early 20s. It's hilarious that she's getting into it now. Just not that long ago, we did a deep dive into videos on YouTube for a bunch of these things, and it was just pretty cool to know what she knew and what she didn't know. So this song, or well, these songs are all bits of stuff she kind of knew and stuff she kind of didn't. We have Cold Chamber from their second LP, Chamber Music, released in 1999, Standing By. We're going to hear Tyler's song, but we're going to go all the way back to 1998 and the self-titled debut from System of a Down for this one. This is Spiders, right here on Cheer FM and Radio Gordo.
Piercing radiant moon, the storming of boardroom, all the life running through her hair, approaching guiding light, her shallow years in fright, dreams are made winding through my heart.
Just gives them sight of all the life running through her hair. The spiders all in tune, the evening of the moon. Dreams are made winding through my head.
That one was played at the request of my daughter. She was telling me about some of the songs that she liked by Korn. I'm like, oh, yeah. That was when I stopped listening to them. I'm like, do you know these songs? And that was met with a resounding no. So that's how she was introduced to Ball Tongue. One of the ones off the Korn debut released in 1994. That's why we checked it out just now. Cold Chamber, Tyler's song before that. System of a Down, Spiders before that. And another song from the 90s. This is a little heavier. I know some people who listen to this show aren't always fans of the heavy music. They like the exploratory nature of the show in general. So maybe in that spirit of exploration, we will listen to this slightly heavier song. The band is Megadeth, of course. Dave Mustaine infamously booted from Metallica for his alcoholism problems when the band was still kind of nicknamed Alcoholica, so pot calling the kettle black in that particular case. By 1992, Mustaine and crew released the album Countdown to Extinction, featuring this song. Coming at us right now, this is Sweating Bullets.
Meet the real me in my misfits way of life. A dark black past is my most valued possession. Hindsight is always 20/20, but looking back, it's still a bit fuzzy. Speak of mutually assured destruction. Nice story, Taxpayers Digest. Feeling paranoid to enemy of fostering. Anxiety's attacking me, my air is getting thin. free again. You can subdue but never tame me. It gives me a migraine headache, sinking down to your level. Yeah, just keep on thinking it's my fault and stay an inch or two out of kicking distance. Mankind has got to know his limitations. Feeling claustrophobic like the walls are closing in. Bloodstains on my hands and I don't know where I've been. I'm in trouble for the things I haven't got to yet. I'm sharpening the ass and my palms are getting wet. Well, me, it's nice talking to myself. A credit to dementia. Someday you too will know my pain and smile its black-toothed grin. If the war inside my head won't take a day off, I'll be dead. My icy fingers claw your back. Here I come again. Feeling paranoid, true enemy, a false friend. Anxiety's attacking me, my hair is getting thin. Feeling claustrophobic like the walls are closing in. Bloodstains on my hands and I don't know where I've been. Once you've committed me, now you look right at me. Claiming validity for your stupidity. Tapping at the bit, I'm sharpening the axe. Oh, here I come again.
Metal like that was still reigning pretty hard in 1992, and it was starting to definitely displace in and of itself the hairier, more flamboyant, less metal, more rocking elements of hair metal that was just dominating everything in the 80s. When you actually go back and look back at popular music, heavy metal was the pop music in a lot of ways in the 80s. When you look at stuff, and you have to loosen your definitions a little bit, but when you look at stuff like maybe Guns N' Roses fitting that category, Poison or Motley Crue, and bands like that hair metal sound was incredibly popular. It was everywhere. And it's weird to think that heavy metal in that loosely defined context was the popular music of the 80s. It's pretty wild to think. And then by the time the early 90s rolled around, of course, the culture wars were going. And in that case, we had stuff like grunge moving in. Now, bands like Megadeth were still producing pretty big music. A band like Pantera had a #1 album in the Billboard charts in 1994, so you know that metal wasn't entirely dead. But bands like Nirvana, the Melvins, and Mudhoney were all bands that were at the head of the grunge rock movement, and especially the grunge portion. Not alternative, but grunge. R.E.M. was alternative. U2, I guess they were alternative. Nirvana was grunge. Mudhoney was grunge. So from their now 30-year-old album out, or Incesticide, Outcesticide was the bootleg series. We have two cuts from Nirvana's Incesticide album. We have New Wave, Polly, standing by. We have Mexican Seafood, standing by. Before that, this is Mudhoney, Suck You Dry.
Fire!
proving that some of the finest grunge was purely out of the Pacific Northwest. And wrapping up that set of 4 songs, that was the Melvins from the album Ozma, their cover of The Cars, Candio. Nirvana, New Wave Polly before that, Nirvana, Mexican Seafood before that, and Mudhoney, Suck You Dry, even before that, represents 4 great songs from the grunge rock movement. Coming out as next is a song that is a cover of the one that we heard earlier, so this also makes sense to follow up the Melvins. The Melvins did a cover of an 80s song. This next one is a cover of an 80s song, representing 2 songs as well that we're going to hear from the band Ghost. Let's do this. This is Ghost with their cover of Pet Shop Boys. This is It's a Sin.
It's
Now, absolutely and admittedly, it's taken me a while to come around to Ghost's 2022 album Impera, and it was difficult. I listened to it the weekend it came out and was really turned off by the lack of heavy hooks, and just the kind of songs that were released on Opus Eponymous or Infestissimum, or even Meliora, things like that. It wasn't there. In the last month or so, this album has really started to make sense to me. The playing on it is fantastic. This is them less of a metal band and more of a prog rock band, but in being more of a prog rock band, they've tapped into a different kind of heavy metal sound, and I'm really liking it. The one we just heard there, Watcher in the Sky, cool vibe to it. I gotta say, I just really like it. The whole album as a whole is just, it's gelled, and I really like it when an album finally does that. Their cover of Pet Shop Boys, It's a Sin, was before that. And now, shifting gears completely from what we just heard, got a 2-song set featuring David Bowie and these guys out of New York. This is the Talking Heads on an album that they did with some help from Brian Eno from the album Fear of Music. This is the Talking Heads with Heaven.
Of the bar. lovers, and that is a fact. Yes, we're lovers, that is that. Though nothing will keep us together, we could still die just for one day. We can be heroes forever and ever. What you say? Dolphins can swim. Though nothing will keep us together, we can beat them forever and ever. Oh, we can be heroes just for one day.
from the LP of the same name. That was David Bowie and the track Heroes, a song that takes its inspiration, some people that he used to see actually meeting up and kissing by the Wall. And that's where those lines come from. Interesting production technique, snippets with that one. Tony Visconti has said in an interview that he set up 3 microphones in the studio. Apparently it was a bit of a haul because he had microphones close, 20 feet away, and 40 feet away, as if I remember correctly. And he had noise gates on those, so only when Bowie sang loudly enough would the microphone actually pick up the signal. So that's how you get some of those really big vocal sounds from Bowie on that one, and that sort of weird spaciousness to it. Pretty cool, right? Last up on the show tonight, we're going to get into a cut from Tori Amos. Now, it was suggested to me earlier this week to check out some material from Joanna Newsom. I've checked out material from her going back, well, a number of years now, about 15 to 17 years ago. I want to say 15 years ago. Maybe it just seems longer, maybe it's just me. I didn't really like what she did. It just wasn't my cup of tea. Tori Amos, though, definitely was my cup of tea, and her 1996 album, Boys for Pele, is a magnificent beast of an album. This song comes to us from that one. This is Hey Jupiter.
No one's picking up the phone, 'cause it's me and me and this little masochist. She's ready to confess all the things that I never thought that she could feel. Hey Jupiter, nothing's been the same, so are you gay? Are you blue? Thought we both could use a friend to run to, and I thought I wouldn't have to be with you. There's something new. Sometimes I breathe you in, and I know you know, and sometimes you take a swim. Found you writing on my wall, leave my heart soaking wet. Boy, your boots can leave a mess. Hey Jupiter, nothing's been the same, so are you gay? Are you blue? Thought we both could use a friend to run to, and I thought you wouldn't have to keep with me hiding. All the dolls I had took my leather off the shelf. Your apocalypse was fab for a girl who couldn't choose between the shower or the bath. And I thought I wouldn't have to be with you. A magazine. Yeah. has. No one's picking up the phone, 'cause it's clear he's gone. And this little masochist is lifting up her dress. And guess I thought I could never feel the things I feel. And hey, Jupiter, nothing's been the same. So are you gay? Are you blue? Thought we both could use a friend to run to. Hey, Jupiter, nothing's been the same. So what you say? Now we're through. Thought we both could use a friend to run to. Hey, Jupiter.
That's it for Pop Your Culture for this week. I want to thank CHIR-FM and Radio Gordo for being home base for this. And just a heads up to everybody who I do also thank for tuning in. I think I'm going to take next week off. Midnight on Christmas Eve just doesn't necessarily seem like the right time and vibe for this show. So spend time with your friends and family doing the things you like. And we'll catch you on New Year's Eve. Later.
The things you need to hear.